Hello, my name is Mr. Rodriguez from Ideas Flores, and today's video we will actually be going over Guitarron. Now, more importantly, today's video will actually be the very fundamental basics, going over posture for when you're sitting versus when you're standing, and then also going over the left hand position for all the fingerings and the right hand position for the pluckings and making sure good formal pluck with all the angles. Now, to first start off, let's just get our posture set up. So, if you're sitting down, you're going to want to make sure to have the guitarron. Put the strap around your entire body if you'd like, or you could put it simply just right around your right shoulder. And it would be better if you have the strap kind of either come off to the side or just hang on to the middle of the guitarron so it stays nice and centered. Now from here, you're going to want to make sure that you place the guitarron right in between your legs. Okay, so if I was standing, it would kind of look like this. So right in between. And then if you're sitting, same right there, right in between. Now that we got that set up, make sure that it, of course, is at an angle. You don't want it parallel right to the floor, and you don't want it straight up like an upright guitarron, but you want it at a good, probably like a 45-degree angle, right? Just off center, okay? Then from there, you're going to want to now place your left hand, right hand. So your left hand is going to come up to the neck, and from here, we're usually on guitarron, just stay within the top whole center of the guitarron. We usually don't go up here and do all this crazy stuff, though it can happen. You can still play high notes up here and stuff, but most of the guitarron centers with the music centers around very basic notes. Right? I just used mainly all this whole part. So now to go over it, the left hand is mainly going to stay up here, so don't really do too much over here, and make sure that your thumb wraps around on one end and that your fingers wrap around on the other end, because the thumb will actually be used in this instrument since we're doing a lot of octave things. Octave, in case you're wondering, in music theory just says 8, so oct meaning like an octopus, meaning there's 8 intervals from the first note to the second note, which means it's an octave. So technically they're the same note, but one's a low one and one's a high one. So low A, high A, low, low, high, low, high. They're both the A note, but one of them is low and then the high one. So that means they're an octave apart. And that is how guitarron works. It goes by octaves. So that's the reason why many of the notes, you aren't going to be having to focus on, okay, now we need to do this high note, now this little high note. It all usually works together. So the left and right hand and the thumb, and all the other fingers usually coincide and work together since everything's doing octaves. Now that we have the position set up, everything with the rest on your shoulder, and now the left hand, now we need to set up the right hand. Now if you're all in a good position, you're going to have the nice angles, everything set up so that the sound hole is projecting forward. Now, it's, of course, you want it ideally forward and up, because if you're standing up, you're going to want to make sure that it's still forward and up and that the sound is progressing upwards and towards the audience, whatever way you're facing. Okay. Now, let's go over the right hand. So I put this a little bit up so you can see the right hand more. Now, with the right hand, it's all about plucking. Now, of course, there's a little bit of angles to it and stuff like that, but mainly it's getting every individual note and plucking from there. So, just for today, let's just try plucking the A notes. So this is the thickest note on one side of the guitarron, the thickest metal string. And then you're going to go over to the other side, and the last string, the thickest plastic nylon string. Okay? And what we're going to do is, to finger these, you're going to use your thumb and your middle finger. So don't use any of these other fingers, only your thumb and middle. The reason why is because this one has to be played nice and strong. It's the lowest note of the guitarron, so it needs to be heard with not only the note being played, but the thoomph that the whole back of this guitarron provides. In case you're wondering, that's the reason why the guitarron has an angled tilt to it, because it needs that thoomph from the note to be able to, it's kind of like a drum. You hit the note, it resonates back into the guitarron, and it bounces off all the sides, all of everything inside of it. And more importantly, it sounds more like a drum, because down here makes it sound like it's in a pool, it's in a deep space, to make it just sound more full. So in that, we have to make that note, the lowest note, sound strong. So that is why we are going to try today with the middle finger and the thumb. Starting first with the thumb, let's put our thumb on the thickest string, the thickest metal string, and this note is called A. If you want, you could just pluck it with the thumb. Now we are going to add the middle finger. Now that your thumb is taking the first guitarron string, A, now we're going to move it to the very, very last note. And the last string is also A, but in octaves. Now, if you want, pluck the middle string by itself with the middle. So, don't of course just play up and like that. That doesn't really produce a good sound. It doesn't sound like it's plucking. And it doesn't get that fullness of the note. Now what I want you to do is lift and pull up. Now, of course, don't pull the strings off the guitarron, but wrap your fingers around so it creates a good friction that when you pull upwards, it really resonates and kind of makes a thoomph to the instrument. Like this. One more time. Let me show you how it would sound if I'm just doing a whatever hand position on the right hand. See, it's not as strong as more pronounced and good pluck. Okay. Now that we already have that all set up, let's start walking up the guitarron in all the fingering positions. Now that will be in our next coming video.